Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back once again. So, continue with the previous video. Actually, we are discussing with respect to the part B of the question, the theoretical content, and we have done a good planning. And this planning, it's what about the raw thinking we have developed in our mind. So initially, you have to plan the thing and then attack accordingly. Yeah. So that's the point I always emphasize to my all the students. So come on, now it's time um, to discuss the things. What the answer should be as a student caliber to write during the examination. Whenever you are writing the question, whenever you are drafting the question, ensure that not you are only writing the technical marks, but also side by side, simultaneously incorporating the professional skill marks. Now, this is what an answer. This is not the model answer, actually the crafted answer for you people. So you will get easiness by reading this with this content of the answer. So initially, based on the planning what we have done, initially, first of all, we have to write the answer, the investment appraisal by traditional method, by real option method. So what I personally suggest to all my students that always start with a very basic explanation. For example, here by NPV method, traditional investment method, by simple NPV method. Traditional investment NPV method, we assume that investment needs to taken now or never basis. That's with NPV method, the decision making is very much stringent. So, and we just say that now or never, once taken, it cannot be reversed. No flexibility. But with real option, we actually incorporate the things of the flexibility, practically the flexibility, if there is flexibility with the business, like this case. In this case, the Tonpantau company actually have a plan to enter with the investment. Number one, by phase. Number two, if it's not up to the mark, they will withdraw. So what is this about? With simple NPV, the phase by phase, or in case phase by phase means if successful, and so they will move towards the extra phase or extra mileage or add on the investment. And if they are not satisfied, they will withdraw. This actual opportunity or the option not facilitated with the NPV method. So with the real option, this real option, simple statement, taken into account the fact in reality most investment has a certain amount of flexibility, or you just say real option taken into account the flexibility of the investment, whether or not the investment immediately delay, which is not the case here, delay, or the follow, that's expansion opportunity, or withdraw, all these things. So always start with simple explanation, the first thing. Now you have to add on more points here. Once traditional and real, then in adding more things about the flexibility, how real options incorporate the flexibility, of course with the time value aspects, with the mathematics, the time value. So NPV captures this just intrinsic, the investment opportunity, where real options capture both the intrinsic and time value, and this time value actually incorporate the flexibility. So where there is an increase, uncertainty and risk, decision can be changed in the form of expansion, withdrawal, delay, that is called flexibility, known as time value. So you have to mention the time value actually reflect the flexibility. And this flexibility incorporates the time value and additional intrinsic value. So time value adding to the intrinsic value, creating the total value of the project. So this is what the basic explanation you need to start. But don't forget, your answer will incomplete if you are not able to connect the thing with the case. Now you have to connect the thing with the Tonpantau, whatever you have discussed above. With the Tonpantau, we already covered this point at the time of reading of the question. There are two, apparently there are two things need to consider here. Number one, phases wise investment. Number two, a withdrawing option. So both examiner expect that you have to explain or you have to connect with the case. Real options are relevant to Tonpantau as it has potential to expand and abandon. How? And if you explain the things, connect with the case, always remember, whenever you are connecting the concept with the case, actually you are performing the technical plus the professional skill marks of commercial acumen. So that's mentioned here. Commercial acumen, scenario based. Whenever you are incorporating the things of the scenario, connect the things with scenario, that's you are actually showing your ability, demonstrating your ability with respect to practical version. Now this one, it can decide. Now it's a time for the application. It can decide that Tonpantau can decide at after year 0 produce more product than planned. That is phase wise, giving chance to increase. This is actually this planning for expansion or option for expansion, actually adding the intrinsic value of the investment, adding the traditional value NPV method intrinsic value, the option to expand, and this option is actually call option. And with call option, there is a sub exercise price, what the premium you are paying. The initial investment is the premium required to expand, and the exercise price is the value of additional investment over and above what is planned. Another application with respect to the case, that's option to withdraw. Here, because the investment is phased over 2 years, Tonpantau also may have opportunity to withdraw if initial sales disappointing. So this is the connection of the case. Option to withdraw will exercise if the liquidation or abandon exceeds the value of net cash flow being foregone. That's put option. This is what about the put option. So I think so that ACCR really wants you people not only just to get the knowledge, but also ability the application of the knowledge. So this is a clear example of this. So once again, when the key point, whenever always start with the basic explanation of the knowledge, then connect with the case. Whenever you are connecting the case, actually you are getting the marks of technical and the commercial acumen as well. So this is the first part of B1 that we have done. Now B2, the problem of incorporating and valuing options, and your answer should specific reference to the Black-Scholes. That is very clear that during the planning phase that we have already decided. This is what about the assumptions. Mark my words, whenever you are drafting the thing related to or explaining the thing with respect to assumptions or limitations, actually by default you are getting the marks, professional skill marks of skepticism. You are getting the marks of skepticism. Discussing limitation or assumptions, always it's about challenge the informations, challenge the models. That's called skepticism. But once you are explaining the skepticism, simultaneously you can add the commercial acumen point. So for example, if you mention some assumption, any of the assumption, that's explaining the assumption is called the skepticism point. And if this point connect with the case, that's called commercial acumen. Let's start the thing. Number one, the first thing is that assumptions, limitations, for sure skepticism. but also have commercial acumen point. How? Let's start. Black-Scholes for valuing options has number of assumptions. The first very prime assumption is that real options are built based on the uncertainties around the future cash flows. We don't know what either the future cash flows will arise or not, but real option theory assume that if some uncertainties arises in future, for example, if you launch the project and competitor will react, so this is uncertainty, how the competitor will react. So here real option assume that management have an ability to respond effectively if some actions taken by the competitor, management will respond accordingly. Means management can respond effectively these uncertainties as they evolve. This is the assumption that management can do that. But the point is that this is what the explanation you have made for skepticism. Okay, these are the normal point of skepticism. Normally students knows. But if this thing connect with the case, this is the point. In practice, there may be possibility not too flexible to do. The management will not respond accordingly. Once they have decided on a particular course of action, for example, commissioning the writing of the study material, means if we start the investment and we have appointed some content writer or any other person with respect to this business model or staffing any of the person. For example, for content making, we have already appointed on a commission basis some of the staff. So maybe if competitor react, our staff, our content development staffs or the content developer personalities of the employees are not able to adjust the material accordingly. It may be possible that management or the strategy will not react accordingly, that we are not able to make a strategy accordingly, or our strategy is not enough flexible. Although this is what a point the company's management must have to bear in the mind and make a strategy with a flexible manner, but this is not the compulsory point. That is the point. So this is what, if you connect the things with something reality, that's called commercial acumen. And do remember that whenever you are explaining skepticism and commercial acumen, it's not compulsory. That is only with respect to the case. You can add on the point. You can add on extra point, which is not inside the case, but with your own knowledge, application of the knowledge. Examiner allow you. But at this point, I must say one point. Whenever you are adding any extra point other than the case to clarify the things, this is good. But that point must be relevant, number one. That point, and whenever you are writing something, be cautious that you are under the time. Means time, don't disturb the time management thing. And number three, according to the marks management, write the thing, either you will be able to get extra marks or not. So if you are adding extra point, this is good. Number one, the point must be relevant. Your time management point, it's not rushing out, it's not disturbing. Number three, and within the scope of the marks. If you are writing extra point, will you be able to get extra marks? Yes or no? That's good. So this is for about the point number one. I hope it's clear to you. Now the second point. The option price formula used with investment decision is based on BSOP model. And the BSOP model makes number of assumptions, one by one. First, you highlight the option assume exercise as a specific point time, that is European option. This may not true. Make it clear, European option. But this is not true. Example, option to redeploy may exercise anytime. Or option to exercise anytime. Here the case, however, Tonpantau company may make the decision to expand or contract its product range at any time over the next few years, meaning that option is more representative of American style, which can be exercised before expiry. So one point is skepticism, and simultaneously you are working with commercial acumen. The model assumes that constant risk-free, constant volatility, perfect market. So project cash flow assume, and the project cash flow is long-term distribution. That's only the limitations. BSOP model assumes underlying asset PA traded freely, but this is not possible about the investment project of the Tonpantau. That's called skepticism. Finally, based on above limitations, the model methods underestimate the true value of option of Tonpantau company. If this last statement quotes, it's not based on limitation. It's not. It may be possible that we are not getting the true value of option. That's called commercial acumen. That is how to answer the question. Candidates, can you please reply me? Is that clear, all of you? Even you people are watching the video. If you have any question, you can ask me. Now, after that, as per my commitment, we are here to discuss some more point related to examiner report. Now, examiner report diagnosis related to part B. Number one, here with your document, it's already available. Don't worry. Yes, number one. Number one, very important. What examiner says here? The answer is over. Now we are diagnosing the examiner report. With regards to the real option discussion, candidates were quite good at describing how real option build on a NPV and able to identify good number of problems, means limitations, incorporating the value option using the Black-Scholes. Here the important. However, candidate discussion tended to be generic and did not make much use of scenario which they have been provided with. In particular, many candidates failed to discuss the real option apparently available to Tonpantau's company, which rather reduced the marks that could gain. Candidates, I strongly suggest the reading of the question is an art. Whatever I suggest to you with my video of reading the question, you have to strongly consider this point. You have to strongly obey the advices, apply the advices over the questions. Read the question carefully, where you will identify the context of the question. Understanding of the requirement and the question. Understanding of requirement, number one. Number two, understanding of the question, number two. Number three, understanding of question means the text of the question connect with requirement. This is very much important. If you are not able to connect the things with the case, you miss that point, not able to qualify the exam. Additionally, with candidates who generate only generic points can still earn some technical marks. Not complete technical marks, some technical marks. No professional marks. Some technical marks, not 100%, and 0% professional skill marks. Their ability to earn available professional is much reduced. No professional marks, limited technical marks. Number two, many responses to the discussion or discursive area were brief. That brief means your sentence is incomplete. For example, if you say that option assumed to be exercised at specific time, European option, call option. This is incomplete. The complete sentence is, this may not be true in reality. Example, the option to expand any one option can exercise anytime. If you just make a line, the BSOP model is based on European option. This is brief, incomplete sentence. You have to complete your sentence. This may not be true because option can exercise anytime. And if you mention only this statement, this is generic answer. But you have to connect with the case, that is the complete answer. Full technical marks and the complete professional marks will be available once you connect with the case as well. Yes, as a general, this green is important, very important. A general rule candidate should try to make 1.1 mark available. Although there is quite often up to 2 marks available for a point that is well developed. Time pressure did not seem to be major issue in this question. Hence, brevity means clarity and conciseness of answer. Brevity of the response is most likely to be due to candidates' uncertainty and lack of knowledge. Candidates who made better use of scenario were often in a better position to write a full answer. That is the point. Now, point number 13. Yes. No, nothing else. All the matters we have already covered. This is all over. All the things, generic, all the points. Even all the points of the analysis, skepticism, commercial acumen, all the things we have covered. We have already covered. That is all about this question, including the diagnosis. This document will be available, will be uploaded. Don't worry about it. And candidates, if you have any problem till now, you can ask me. That is all about the question. The diagnosis of the question, it's completed. So you will get this document, including the examiner report diagnosis as well. So thank you very much, students, about this part of the video. Thank you very much. Take care a lot and wait for the another video for the another question. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.